Boom. We are back with the 116th edition of the Quarantinecast. As you can tell, I have a host this time around. I'm joined by Joe Gravel, who is a friend of mine, also a writer for Bloody Canvas MMA. If you haven't, check out his stuff. I think he's one of the best article writers in all of MMA. I'm not just saying that to hype him up. His articles are good. He puts his heart and soul into it. So if you haven't, check him out. He also trains at Dragon Lair MMA, and he introduced me to this guy right here who we're about to have on, and Philipe Martins. I've been checking out some of his stuff, and I can't wait to have him on. And without further ado, here he is. Hey, man, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, bro? What's going on?
How first things first, man. How are you doing? And how are things there with the pandemic? I guess that question goes out to both of you because you're both in the same place.
Yeah, I mean, it's opened up and then locked back down again. So kind of got our hopes up and then snatched them away. So just trying to deal with that depression. So that's cool.
How's the how's the training though? Like, how's the training for the two of you? Are you guys able to train, or is it minimal contact? What's going on?
So the gym's been closed for like quite a while, and I was just bugging them about like, when's it gonna be back up? When's it gonna be back up? I need to get back in there. And then they finally opened back up, and it's been like what? How long, Joe? You think we were there until this recent
3 or 4 weeks?
Probably like a month, and then some Karen fucking ratted us out to like, I don't know, some Department of Health shit. They're like, they're not being clean. So now we like took some more provisions and they're getting everything set up so we can open back up. So right now we're a little bit in limbo, trying to figure out, in the meantime, what to do.
Yeah. So, some people want you to spar with masks on. Some people will let you spar with masks off. And it's just a matter of basically doing things exactly how the state would prefer it.
So one of the things Joe and I have been talking about Dragon Lair the past, I don't know, a couple of months, and it really seems like you guys are a close-knit group of guys. What's it like when they're like, oh, you got to keep a distance, or you got to spar with a mask on? Does it feel like, man, like I'm going to see these guys anyway? Like, do you feel like part of you is like, this is stupid? Like, can we just go out there and spar? Like, I mean, as someone who does jiu-jitsu and whatnot, it really just seems silly that they're taking this away from us if we're going to do it anyway.
As I'm saying, yeah, it's like they just want us to go through the motions to show them that like we're being cooperative and everything, but like I don't know, like the whole like science behind it, like nothing's really gonna get like prevented by the wearing the mask. Everybody's gonna have it under their you know what I mean? Like it's not gonna prevent nothing. It's just like for the show of it. Like, hey, look, we're being cooperative with all your guidelines and rules, whatever. But I think it's stupid, honestly, in my opinion.
I want to talk a little bit about your background, because from what I've heard from Joe, you've done some training with a lot of high level guys who are in the UFC, guys like I think Danny Chavez, who I've had on. I really like Danny. I was texting him the other day. So kind of describe how you got introduced to both A, the sport of mixed martial arts, and B, these guys at such a high level.
Yeah, so I first got into it. One of my friends, Eddie Romero, I went to high school with him. He kind of like brought the topic to me, like, yo, there's like a gym in town. It was called USMMA, and at the time, Jorge Rivera was a coach there. So I was like, all right, cool. I was like in my summer going into my senior year, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And it was like a month before school started. And I was like, all right, I'm going to check it out and see how it is. And I ended up really liking it. But I like stopped because I had like my soccer season coming up. And soccer is like my first love and everything. And I was like, I can't be fighting in the gym and then get hurt and then not be able to play in my like last high school season. So I took a break from it, from the whole like fighting thing then. And then started back up after I was done with high school. And started up with Dragon Lair with actually one of my boys I got here now with Anthony Corrado. We started there, and then after that it was a wrap, and kept doing that for a while with Mario Ramos at Dragon Lair, and that's where I got like my base, my foundation in for sure. And yeah, that's how it really got started.
Joe, how did you get introduced to Dragon Lair? Was it just following is it just the closest gym to you? Was it people that you knew? How did you end up at Dragon Lair?
Yeah. Also, Felipe got his blue belt in jiu-jitsu there at Dragon Lair, right, Phil?
Yes, sir. Plaque
Yep.
on the wall.
Yep, under Mario Ramos. I got introduced to it because I wrestled in high school. I absolutely loved wrestling. I actually wrestled with the friend Felipe's hanging out with tonight. And I felt like it gave me a decent base. And then I knew Felipe trained. So years ago, he brought me through. I knew I loved it. I loved the energy. I knew I was passionate about it. Sometimes it's a little bit costly. And I fell away from it. And then I continued to roll and just wrestle. And the minute I got an opportunity to go back with Felipe and begin training again, I jumped on it. I think it would help everything I do with MMA. And I just think if people can do a martial art, that they should. If there's a possibility that you can train a martial art, I think it just helps with discipline and commitment and learning about yourself. So that's pretty much how I got into it. It's a big thanks to Felipe.
One of the things you said there that stood out to me was you had that wrestling base. I guess this question kind of goes to both of you. When you first jumped into it, what was the hardest part to learn? I mean, I've heard guys who've wrestled say like learning jiu-jitsu was the hardest part because rather than pushing guys away from you, you're doing the opposite. So I guess the question is, what was the hardest element to adapt?
Speaking for me, I didn't have any like background in any martial art going into it. I know like wrestling is like the best thing to have going into MMA because you get to dictate whether are we standing up or are we going to the ground. But when I started, it was just I didn't know anything. So I guess the biggest thing for me was just like the world of stand up, getting into it, like not closing your eyes all the time, not being so like hesitant, standing up and everything. I feel like the jiu-jitsu was a little bit more comfortable because you weren't getting like fists thrown at your face. It was more like technique and like if you're about to get caught in something, you can tap out. It's not as like intense. But the striking for me was like something I really had to like break out of my shell of doing like the wrong things. You know what I mean? Just because it was so like, the newest thing was punches getting thrown in your face. I've never really had that, and jiu-jitsu, you don't have to worry about that aspect of it.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. Defending against strikes, sparring with people like Felipe and the sensei's son, Michael Ramos, who throw these wild teeps and these crazy kicks at your head, and just making sure that I have my eyes open and my hands up, because if one of those connects, whether they're going light or not, you're not going to like the way it feels. So definitely that, being a natural wrestler, I just want to grab you, and that's just not always the case with these quick guys who have, like Felipe, actual professional experience hopping in the cage and taking a real fight.
I want to touch on that point. I mean, unlike Joe and I, you actually had the courage to go out there and compete. So I want to start talking about the nerves around that first amateur fight you had. I mean, when did you start? Like how early into your career was it that you took that first fight?
I think that fight was 2012. And I honestly think I was only training. I think I started training in 2010. So I think it was only like 2 years of like intense training. And then I started talking to my coach. I was doing good in the gym. I was like, yo, I think I can hang with these people. And my coach was like, so you want to fight? I was like, oh, like, I'm not too sure. Let's just keep on doing the training and then I'll see. He's like, no. The training we're doing now is different from the training that we're going to go through if you're going to set up for a fight. So you can't really gauge it off what we're doing right now. And me, I'm pretty like spontaneous person. Like I'll just do something without really thinking about it. So I was like, all right, yeah, fuck it. Let's get a fight. Let's do it. And yeah, he set up my first amateur fight at 170 because in Massachusetts you need one amateur fight before you can enlist as pros. And my coach Mario has a thing about amateurs and people that like to kind of take advantage of the amateur scene and be amateur kings, as he likes to put it. Like people in like the amateurs going like 20 and like 3 on amateurs. It's like, what are you doing? Like you did it already. Like get out of there. So I was like, all right, yeah, cool. Let me just do one amateur fight and then just start the pros just to like not get babied by like the less intense divisions. So
I want to talk about that first pro fight now. I mean, it was 2 years, a little almost 2.5 years later.
Yeah.
You get your first pro fight and it's Bellator. Like, first, what was the feeling like when you're like, oh my God, I'm fighting for one of, if not the second biggest organization in all of MMA?
Yeah, so the second fight was in 2014, and yeah, it was a short notice too. My sensei was like, hey, we have an opportunity for you. We know you've been, training. Because I had a fight lined up and it got canceled. So I was already kind of like in like a good like flow of training. And then all of a sudden he just comes up to me. He's like, hey, so I have an opportunity, Bellator, da-da-da. Only thing is it's in a month and a half. And I was training consistently, but my weight wasn't there. I think I was around like 178 or something around there, and I had to fight at 145. So I had a month and a half to cut that weight, and yeah, it was pretty intense.
As someone who kind of, I'd say, jumped into it, both with the short notice pro fight and jumped into it only a couple of years into an amateur, into an amateur fight. What's the kind of message you would have to someone who's starting it? Do you think take your time, do it right, or do you think jumping in there and testing it is the right way to do it?
I think honestly, it depends. I mean, from a like a sane person's point of view, like yeah, take your time. Get comfortable in the gym, get all your techniques. Like all your ducks in a row basically before you really take that step. But also, I don't know, you could be the type of person where you just need to get your feet wet first to find out, if you can swim or not. You know what I mean? So that's the type of shit. Like I just want to jump and figure out how I can handle the obstacles. You know what I mean? Yeah, I definitely had those nerves. I was like, oh, I don't think I'm ready yet. And I just got tired of being like, I don't think I'm ready yet. Like, fuck it, let's go see if I'm ready. You know what I mean? Let's go, just do it. Just get our feet wet.
Yeah, Felipe always uses that term when it comes to doing a lot of things we do. It's just you just got to jump in the water and just be sure that you're not going to drown. But everybody, starts slow, and it's better to start taking the licks now or start that hard process of getting used to things now by just jumping in. And yeah, Felipe, it's crazy that you had an amateur fight and you lost the fight. And then your next fight was you're making weight and you're shaking Scott Coker's hand for Bellator. And why don't you tell us, Felipe? I'll let you do this. I mean, I know you were very close. How did that fight go in Bellator? What happened? Tell us what happened.
All right, so Pete Rogers was his name. Leading up to the fight, like the weigh-ins, like you kind of see your opponent like doing like the screenings and going through all their medicals. You see like everyone backstage. It's not like the first time I'm seeing them is in the ring. You know what I mean? We're in the same line, like for the medical shit, whatever. And homie was like pretty humble. He was like, "Hey, what's up?" Da, da, da. Like he wasn't like mean mugging or like I'm gonna fuck you up. Da, da, da. So I was like, "All right, cool. He's a nice kid." Da, da, da. You know what I mean? He's not someone like trying to be super disrespectful, trying to like get everything at any by any means necessary. So when the fight started, I'm super humble. Like one of my favorite fighters, Anderson Silva. You know how he's super like respectful, like bow. Like I'm not here to like make a scene. I'm just here to like display my art. So that's why I went into it. So as soon as we touch gloves, I go in there. Hey, my hands up. You see me put my hands up like, hey, let's touch gloves. And usually when people touch gloves, they do a little hand touch and they kind of like circle around real quick and like they get into it. But today, that time wasn't the case. We touched gloves, and as soon like before our hands even like separated, he came up with a head kick and just like shook my whole thing up. And it was funny because like while I was in there, I touched gloves and I got hit, and I was like, damn, already? Like fights just happen that quickly? Like, you know what I mean? Because I don't know, my nerves are crazy, so I was like super nervous to like get into the belts or fight, especially on this main stage. But yeah, touch gloves, hit me with a head kick, dropped me. I tried to fight it off, but then took some ground and pound, and lights went out after that, unfortunately.
It's a rough way to go, especially in your pro debut. I don't mean that in a bad way, but you go in there, it's a big stage, you're being humble, and you take that shot. I
would have rather got beat up for 3 rounds and like you know what I mean. Like, I would have got my ass beat than lose like that. Like, like I'm not like a huge like wins and losses type person. Like I do it for fun. Like I do this because I think it's super fun. Like it's just like playing soccer, playing one-on-one basketball. It's just something while I'm doing it, I'm having fun doing it. So I don't get too anal about like, damn, my record, this and that. Like, I just want to go out there, have fun, you know, take some hits, throw some hits, and just, you know, have a good scrap. But fortunately, I didn't get to do that. So.
I do want to touch on that. It is, like you said, you do it for fun. It's been 6 years since you took a pro bout. Is the dream to eventually return to and make another fight, or is it just, you know what, I'm in the gym, I'm enjoying this right now? What is the ultimate goal in the sport?
So that like changes daily. Like in my head, I'll have like different opinions. Like, oh no, I just wanna train and just be like, you know, someone who's well rounded. Maybe help out some sparring partners here and there. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. I've had 2 fights, and 3 is a cool like benchmark number of like, if I'm gonna stop, let me stop after 3. You know, third time's the charm type shit. So I don't know. I've been playing around with the idea of 2021, like late 2021, getting back in there. And like I said, I'm spontaneous. So one day I might be like, nah, I'm not with it. Next day I'm like, fuck it, sign this contract and I'm in there. So it's definitely not out of the realm of possibilities. Hoping this whole COVID thing gets, you know, regulated and we get to like train consistently, and I get to be in the gym consistently and really get my techniques all sharpened up. I mean, it's definitely in there for 2021. It's a possibility for sure.
I want to ask a couple questions related to Dragon Lair, and then we'll just do some off the cuff talk about soccer, talk about whatever comes up. So Dragon Lair MMA. I mean, for a lot of people, I guess a lot of people who are familiar with the New England MMA scene, first thing that comes to mind is Lozon or Tyson Cartier. For people who aren't familiar with Dragon Lair, who are some of the prospects that they can keep an eye out for? And I guess what's the secret there? What's hidden that we don't know about?
So at least back in the day, we had, I don't know if you're familiar with Saul Almeida. He was like the #1 featherweight out here, and he was really like the face of the Dragon Lair, at least back then. Like I said, I was away for like a couple years, and I just started coming back in. So like the faces I see in there now, they're pretty new, but the people I do know is Michael Ramos there and Carlos Pereira. They've had a few fights. Patrick Ferrari. Those 3 names, those are the guys I would really look out for. They're really trying to like make big steps in getting next fights. You know what I mean? They're really putting hard work in the gym, and those are the guys that are really gonna, you know, be making moves next year.
Yeah, hopefully see them in CES or like we've talked about Sergio Premier FC or one of those organizations in the future. Hopefully. Yeah,
no, they'll definitely. Next year. They're definitely going to be making some big moves, especially, you know, once we get over this whole like lockdown phase and all that shit. So we're definitely going to be doing that with them.
There's a good scene there too. I mean, I think New England right now is booming with especially right now with the New England cartel. I think a lot of eyes are on what can come out of New England. I think that will open the doors for a lot of these amateurs who are trying to get fights or guys who are trying to make pro debuts. So hopefully things open up, and it does look like CES MMA is putting out quite a few events. So it is quite possible some of these guys could get a shot. I'm going to ask about.
To elaborate on that, I'd say one of the best secrets or things that goes on in Dragon Lair is it's a bunch of people that also train at other places and do that. They go around the New England scene and they train with other sparring partners, but mainly it's such a close, tight knit family that I think that really helps a lot of the sessions and a lot of the fighters share tips and tricks. There's a high level of competition, but your main focus is to just help your partner. You know, I think that's one of the main secrets is you hear it a lot. You see it with Rob Font and you see it with Cater, but when things are tight and close knit and there's that small circle, then you really see that iron sharpen iron, I think.
That being said, I mean, you've worked with guys like Danny Chavez. How did you end up meeting Danny? I mean, I love Danny Chavez. I talked to him right before his fight, his debut, which he won. Very impressive.
Before it?
Right before it, yeah. I think nice, 2 or 3 days before.
That's what's up. Yeah, so 2015. Okay, so 2014, I had my fight, got knocked out. A month later, I was playing soccer, tore my ACL, my meniscus. And that put me out for another like 8 months. I was gone. And then after I recovered from my torn ACL meniscus, I was like, I I'm gonna take a break. And I was in a point in my life where I wanted to move out. And I ended up moving to Miami. And I was in Miami for 4 years. And I didn't want to just let, just like, all right, MMA was in the past. You know what I mean? Like, this is a new life. Like, it's like I said, soccer and MMA now, like the two things you'll see me doing forever. So when I got out there, I was looking for, gyms to kind of like keep my hobby alive, whatever. And ended up going to this a fight club. It's like a chain called Fight Club, and it's like a huge gym out there. And it's like it's not like a MMA gym. It's like a regular type gym where they also offer MMA classes. And Danny works there, and he was like an instructor there. So while I was going there with my roommate, I ended up becoming like friends with him. And I was like, yo, I used to like, I did this, I did that. And he was like, oh man, you should, you come in and like train. So he ended up being my impromptu like coach out there. So every time his class would be over, I'd come in and work with him and do some pads, do some sparring with some guys. He was he was getting ready for fights. So that's how me and him developed a connection out there. Like I was really, really just trying to keep my blade sharp, and he was, we took a liking to each other, and we just became friends and kept putting in the work out there.
He's an awesome guy. I think he's just recovering from COVID. He caught the bug a little while ago.
Did he? I didn't even know. I didn't even tell me.
He got the vid.
Yeah, he got it. Yeah, so he's just recovering from it. So hopefully he can get in a fight here shortly. I mean, he had a very, very good fight over.
Yeah. No, I was. You should have seen me. Like I was watching him fight, and it felt so like surreal watching someone like I chilled in their crib with. You know what I mean? They're showing the crib, and he's fighting in the UFC. I'm sitting there like, that's really him. Like he's really there on TV, like fighting right now. This is crazy. Like I've been feeling this guy. I went out to eat with him, had drinks with him. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
It does feel extra special when stuff like that happens.
Yeah, it's surreal almost. It's like I can't believe he's on the TV screen.
I want to talk about soccer. I mean, obviously being Spanish, that was my first love too. Obviously kind of shifted to MMA, but soccer will always have a special place in my heart. So who do you support?
Club wise, I mean, I'm not like a super like this is definitely my club, but if I had to pick one, which I love, is Barcelona. I just love Barcelona. Yeah, Barcelona all day. I love their style of play and everything. You know what I mean? It complements the Brazilian style of play a lot of tiki taka, a lot of joga bonito type stuff. You know what I mean? So that's the team I go for. But I'm more of like a player centric person. Like I'll follow a player that I like, and obviously me being Brazilian, Neymar is the the homie. So I've been following a lot of PSG lately. So that's mostly it.
Yeah, I'm a diehard Barca fan too. Being from Spain, I had to pick.
You had to pick,
Barcelona, and I was like, I'm going Barca. Based on the time I was alive, I picked the right team, thank God. But Messi and Neymar and Suarez, when the three of them were together, it was
that was beautiful.
But
I think because of Felipe's soccer background, he has some devastating leg kicks.
That helps. Yeah, especially like my whole what's it called? Like my coordination, like I'm a lefty, you know what I mean? So my front leg kick, my switch kick is my most dominant kick. Like you would think like people have like the back kick would usually be like their most, comfortable kick, but mine is definitely my switch kick because I'm orthodox, but I'm lefty. If that, you know what I mean? I'm
very weird. Very weird.
It's good to have something like that though, something that sets you apart. It makes you unpredictable and makes it confusing for the person you spar.
Yeah.
I have to ask before we end this, how good is Joe?
How good is Joe? Joe was surprising. Like I didn't expect him to be as good as he was, just because of when you're new, you're gonna make new people mistakes. But like he's better than I expected. Honestly, he's better than I expected, and I mean, like I said, with his wrestling in there, it definitely adds like another level of experience with him. And I've been working a lot with him on tightening up his stand up, and he's been all with it. He hasn't been scared to do anything that I've told him to do, or like pointers I've tried to tell him to do. He's like, yep, I'm doing it. Like fuck it, you know what I mean? So It's definitely good. It's looking good. It's looking good.
All right, man.
Hell yeah.
All right, go ahead, Joe.
Oh, I'm just gonna say, hell yeah, he's been a great help. Like Felipe says it himself that he's always focusing on trying to hone in his skills, and I'm not sure if I can really show you this, man, because I'm trying to perfect this myself and this and that. But I can see him training not just kids one day, but adults on how to defend themselves and how to do things. He's got a natural knack for it. I also think it's real funny to bring to life before we go that in Felipe's amateur fight, in his first fight ever, he actually had to sell tickets to get commission. So like the tickets he sold is the money he made off of the fight.
Yeah, that's the only money I made. Yeah.
I just think that's a cool little thing for fighters if you're ever thinking about coming up in the amateur scene, that there's just so many things.
You don't get paid to show up. You get paid off your ticket sales, and that's it. That's how the amateur works.
I spoke with a guy yesterday. He owns a software company, and he provided a free pay-per-view service in order to fight on the card. He didn't make any money. Like, that is how he was like, you know what? If you guys use my service, I will fight for you. Oh, so it's and that was a pro card. Like, it just shows until you reach like a UFC or a Bellator, there's not much money in it, and it really takes a lot of passion to really make it as a fighter.
Oh yeah, like anything. Like you never start at the top of anything. You gotta grind your way. Whatever you choose to do, you gotta come from the bottom to the top. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna do the shitty stuff, the bitch work at first. You know what I mean? It's just something.
And we're from a small town. We're from like a small town where like not a lot of people do things like make the walk to cages with Tupac playing.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think for him to do that, for Felipe to do that, I've always kind of held it up there out of high regards.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
It's scary. Like I was telling Joe, like, I don't want you to think like, I don't want people to think like, oh yeah, this is normal. Like, oh yeah, I'm just walking into a cage about to, fight another human being, about to get locked in. Like, nah, this shit is crazy for me too. Like, I'm not there like waking up like, yeah, I just got to fight today. No, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna be locked in a cage with another person that's been trying to like train to fuck me up. You know what I mean? And likewise the other way. So it's like, the nerves are always there. It's never like a normal thing. You know what I mean? It's never like, oh yeah, just gotta do this. I'm hoping it'll be a normal thing if you get to like Vanderlei Silva status. Like, oh yeah, just another day in the office. But as of right now, like, nah, it's still like nerve wracking. It's so crazy to even think about, which is like leads to the whole like, I don't know if I'm gonna go back yet, because if I think too much about it, I'm gonna be like, yo, you crazy? Like, what are you doing? Like, you know what I mean? So I like to just pull the trigger on things and just like sign the contract and be like, well, you got to do it now.
It really is like that. I mean, you even hear it at the highest level when when Justin Gaethje agreed to fight Tony. He was like, I am scared.
Like, how can you not be? Like how can you not be scared? Like, it's not, there's not, especially at that level. Like, you're not, it's not like, when boxers, they're like, they're trying to get, like, there's an up and coming boxer, right? And he's doing well. They'll give him like sandbag fights. So like, all right, there's like, you're going to get 10 wins easy. Like, you don't even got to worry. You know what I mean? They'll like, the matchmaking in boxing when you're coming up is so like skewed in that sense. It's so like political, because they'll like fluff your record. Like, oh yeah, he's 20-0, but he beat 20 people that didn't even know they were going to fight that day. You know what I mean? It's like, it's very, very, very cloudy in that aspect. But I feel like in MMA, like the level, the playing field is much more level. Like, you're getting guys that, they're obviously putting like similar records together, but everybody in there is like ready to bang, ready to do some work. And there's lots more ways to get fucked up too. It's not just hands like boxing. Exactly.
And you mean just because someone's 0-0 doesn't mean they aren't a 10-time
taekwondo fucking like champion. Like,
right? Or some karate world champion.
Exactly. Yeah, in boxing they don't have that aspect. It's like, if you're 0-0 in boxing, it's like, well, all you have is boxing to bring. So you know what I mean? There's not much to be worried about or whatever. But MMA, this guy's 0-0. It's like, all right, well, just I got it. You know what I mean? It doesn't make me feel any more comfortable. It just means I have less to like know about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and on the boxing aspect of it too. While I was out in Miami, I did a year of just straight boxing just to get my hands up together. And there's this kid, Xander Zayas. He's making a big scene right now. He's a youngest signee to Top Rank. He's undefeated right now too. But yeah, so I went out to Miami, got my boxing hands right, and just trying to help incorporate that into the MMA world.
Man, I really appreciate. We'll have to do this again sometime, man. This was fun, and I can't believe it's already been half an hour. Like, it feels like it was 10 minutes. Yeah, but I appreciate you jumping on, man, and thanks again, Joe, for helping out.
Yes, sir.
It made things a lot easier when that there is some background there. You guys have known each other, and I appreciate it. We'll do this again, and maybe we'll do an entire Dragon Lair, and I'll get the entire team on. And
yeah, I'm once we get back in there, or even before, I'm gonna tell them like, yo, we should link up, get connected and everything. Get this
all right, man.
Popping.
Is there the last thing before we go? Is there any? How can people follow you and follow your stuff? And is there anyone you want to shout out before we close this out?
Well, everything for me is PMBRZ on Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. Everything is PMBRZ. And no shout outs. Fuck everyone. They gotta work for it.
All right, there you have it. Man, we'll see you guys next time for Quarantinecast episode 117. We've got a big one coming up next, so see you guys later.
All right, sounds good, man. Thank you.